we all have different perspectives growing up from how it kind of affected us. And I was just kind of wondering, like, Joe, like, I guess my question I could say is, like, do you think most religions are cults? And like, how about Jehovah's Witness religion that you spent some time in? Like, was there any, like, even though I know you probably don't think fondly of it, are there any positive lessons you got from that that you use in life, or not really? Or was it just kind of all a sham? And like, what, I guess, what's your overall thought about it?
Yeah, I think so. Religion, again, we could go down a rabbit hole. We could do this
Yeah.
for hours, right? Um, I I think as okay, I'll tell you this way. I learned a lot of being being good to people, being kind, being
Morals.
good morals, right? There's actually a Jehovah's Witness book that I'm sure there's similar for other religions. It's called the Book of Bible Stories. Okay,
Mhm.
and I still, even like, if I had a newborn or I had a younger kid, I'd be like, hey, read these. They've got some good moral lessons, right? These are good things to take away. But so I think I did. I learned a lot of the being kind and that kind of stuff. Um, as far as cults, I firmly believe Jehovah's Witness religion, and I firmly believe a lot of other religions. It's a system of control. Okay,
Mhm.
that's at the core. They can say it's about believing in God, believing in whatever, but it's a system of control.
Yeah.
You need to be this way or you won't get into heaven. You need to be this way or you're a sinner. You need, and
Yeah.
we love everybody and Jesus loves everybody. But if you're gay, uh, well,
Get them
you
out of
shouldn't
here.
do you shouldn't do that. But Jesus loves you. Well, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, what is love? What is love, right? And
Mhm.
and and so it's and again we can go down this rabbit hole over and over and over, but it's a system of control. It's a system of we want you to do this. Like the witnesses, uh, you know, drove me insane because of the hypocrisy in it. Or if you weren't one of the how do I put this? If you weren't one of the good named families in the religion, okay, so you weren't uh the Johnsons, the Williams, the blah blah blahs, the whoever's. And I'm doing this without saying names of
Yeah.
local people,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
who their family's been in it for years. Well, if you weren't one of them, um, and they found out you were an alcoholic, for example, they're going to come down on you like the hammer of God, right? But meanwhile, so and so from the Johnsons was last week falling off a bar stool at a bar, and a bunch of people were seeing him, and he's been an alcoholic for 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
But he's got privileges in the congregation, and he's oh no well we don't have proof of that. Fuck you. That's what I and that's and it happened within our own family. It happened within our own family of uh, you know, people coming down on our family versus other families who were doing the same exact shit. The same exact shit. And that's where my eyes really went. Really? Really? We're gonna play this game?
Yeah.
And it all and so the witness religion, there were some really good people in it, like anything. There's some really good, awesome people. And then there was some higher ups that, or people even not higher up, but just in those families that they had this cover over them that it's like, well, they're not, oh no, not them, not them. They're holier than thou. And like I'll tell you about me, just I'm trying to keep this as brief as I can, but
No, keep going. I want this
yeah.
to be a decent section.
So and this is all chopped up because I can, when I get to my chapters in my book, it'll make a lot more sense. But
yeah.
so like for example, in the religion, like I don't know, Jack, how many years ago was it that I started going back again? I tried to go back 8 years.
Yeah,
7
it's
years?
been a while. Yeah, I
7, 8
just
years,
caught the
something like
tail
that.
end of it.
So I'd been out of it for a long time, and I started going back, and I'm I'm 39 years old now. Okay. So early 30s, I started trying to go back. And they everything was seemed like so there's a couple of reasons I started going back. One, they presented this, oh, we're doing things different, we're more progressive, you know, it's all good. And I believe enough of a lot of it to be like, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a try. So I start kind of going back into it. And I'm not shitting you, every couple of weeks, I was pulled into a meeting by an elder, and an elder would be like a preacher or a reverend or whatever you want to word it with any other church organization. So I get pulled into a meeting and they'd go, we heard you were doing this. Where'd you hear that from? Well, we can't tell you, but we heard that. Okay. Do I get to defend myself? Do I get to say anything? Well, we just want to let you know that that's been said. And like, for example, tattoos. That was one of them, right? You know, we heard you have some tattoos now. Yeah, I fucking do. Does that mean I don't love God? Well, we don't, you shouldn't get tattoos because it's harming your body and your body is sacred, blah, 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 whatever bullshit, you know. And so then it turned into, like, for example, so if you get kicked out of the Jehovah's Witness religion, you're what's called disfellowshipped. Okay. You're not supposed to talk to your family. You're not supposed to talk to anyone else in the religion until you get back in. Okay. And I've been disfellowshipped once before, which I could tell a whole story on just being disfellowshipped. But
and that's when you're kicked out, right?
Yeah, you're kicked out. You're shunned, right?
Yeah.
You're shunned.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk to them. You ignore them until they go to every meeting. They're studying for meetings. They're doing everything they're supposed to. Then they have to go before a group of dudes and say, well, here's what I've been doing and I've done better and I want to get reinstated. Then these guys make a decision on whether or not you've been good enough to get back into their regime, right? So anyway, I had a motorcycle show I did for about 6 or 7 years. And I had hired somebody that was disfellowshipped to do some marketing for me. And I did this motorcycle show with 3 other people. So it was 4 of us involved. And we all decided, hey, let's bring her in. Let's have her go out and do some marketing to get vendors for our motorcycle show. Because I'm playing on the send the pretty lady over to get the vendors versus me going and doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And she was disfellowshipped. So people I've known, one person I knew my whole life, and then her husband, who isn't a Jehovah's Witness, but she's a Jehovah's Witness, but he never got involved in the religion other than going to the meetings. He never got baptized in the religion, so he wasn't held by their rules, but she was baptized. But somehow she was able to, as a baptized person in the religion, go get married to him who was not in the fucking religion, which, when I did that, was totally looked down upon. Well, she should really this. But anyway, she got away with it. So, and I've known her husband for years, and he's no fucking saint. He's a nice guy, but he's no saint compared to following the religious rules.
Yeah.
And everybody loves him and embraces him and brings him into the Kingdom Hall and all that stuff and loves him. So him and her come into this restaurant that I'm having a meal with, talking about this business with this fellowship woman. Basically ignore me and her when they come in and sit down in the booth right behind us. So she gets up, she leaves before I do. I'm like, I'm going to say hi to so-and-so and so-and-so. And so I go over and hey, how are you guys? And they do the, hey, good, how are you? You know, whatever. And I'm like, fine. 3 days later, I get pulled into a fucking meeting. We heard you were having dinner with somebody that's disfellowshipped. Oh, who'd you hear that from? Oh, well, I'm not going to tell you who it is. It's actually the guy that was telling me it. That was his fucking daughter.
Really?
That was there. Yeah. And his daughter's known me since she was fucking born. And so instead of having a fucking conversation with me, she turns around, runs to daddy, even though she married a fucking non-believer, and who, and it's just like that kind of bullshit just made me go, screw you guys. And the other thing that happened,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so years and years ago, I got a petty misdemeanor, okay? It was against the neighbor that lived behind the environmental firm that I worked at, and he's a fucking psycho, okay? He's yelled at our employees for years and years and years. Opens his window, turn off your equipment, whatever. We do everything legally, whatever. He's just a pain in the ass. Well, no one in the company would stand up to him until I was sick of, after about 5, 6, 7 years of getting screamed at by him. I'm like, no, I'm done getting screamed at by this guy. I'm going to scream back at him. So one day he caught me on a bad day and I flicked him off on his porch. And I'll tell you right now, that day, if he had come off his porch, it'd have been a bad day. One of us would have been in a body bag. I'm telling you that right now, because that's how much this guy, I'm going to work. I'm trying to do my job. Right. Yeah. And I'm not doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, the cops decided their way to handle it was to give us both petty misdemeanors. What? Because I flicked a guy off? Really? What? Yeah. Go fuck yourself. Right. And so I had to cave on it. He got 12 months, no same and similar. I said, no. You ain't doing 12 months, no same and similar for me. First of all I did was flick him off. And second, if you know how many people I did that in a day when I was driving, I'm not as bad as I used to be, and speaking of learning good morals, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. But so I got 6 months, no same and similar. So this was years before going back, trying to get back into this religion and doing this. So I get pulled into another meeting. Hey, I just wanted to talk to you about something. I go, what? Pulls up the newspaper that says that I had this petty misdemeanor, blah, blah, blah. And I go, yeah, what's the problem? That was like 5 years, 6, 7 years ago, whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, some people were concerned about it. Oh, who was concerned about it? Well, I can't tell you who was concerned about it. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Listen, I'm in my early 30s. I'm not playing these fucking childish games. If these people that have known me my whole life can't come talk to me and go, hey, Joe, what happened? How come you got a petty misdemeanor? If these people I've known my whole life can't come and talk to me and go, Joe, why were you hanging out with so-and-so at the restaurant? No. Nope. I'm not playing the games.
So